So I think most of the speakers earlier talked about software-defined vehicle. I think Mr. From Keysight, I think you already started the keynote from the beginning of this day, that software-defined vehicle is how important it is. So earlier days, there were a lot of binding. I think it is still going on with the hardware and software. There's a lot of binding. So we want to separate this out because there is certain advantage we are seeing in the momentum itself. Let's uncover what is this momentum we are trying to see. So these are the topics I am covering today. Product development trend. So when we say the overall product life cycle itself, how we are moving, and what is the trend we are looking at, and what is the vehicle architecture. I think some elements was touch-based in the earlier sessions, so maybe there some part of overlaps could be there. So then what are the key elements or the driving factors for SDV itself? And then what are the benefits we are going to see out of this? So on the left side, if you see, there is an product average development life cycle. So earlier days, we had, for example, in 2000, we had a luxury of time to develop a complete life cycle. So nowadays, there is lots of pressure, be it with the OEMs, or it could be the tier ones or suppliers. Everybody is pressurized to move into a faster phase. So what is the timeline we are looking at? Maybe 3 years, 2 years, we do not know. So everybody is asking, can you shrink the time? Can you shrink the time? But on the other side, if you see, there is lots of exponential growth for the software itself. So we started way back in 1960s, maybe with anti-lock braking systems. We had ESP and so on. And now we are moving it to autonomous driving. So there's lots of percolation in the areas of lines of code, what is going on. There is trillion lines of code which is coming up on the other side. So are we talking different things? One side we are asking to reduce this timelines for development. Other side we are asking more features, more ECUs are coming in with domain features and so on. So this is a typical challenge which is thrown to entire ecosystem. So this brings to the topic that what is the vehicle architecture we are looking at. So one side if you see the connected vehicle. So when you say connected vehicle, it is more of the V2X domain. So the vehicle talks to peer vehicles, it could be the infrastructure or the cloud, which we saw earlier. In the earlier talk, there is lots of cloud exchange happening. Then we have the interior management. So what about interior management? Nowadays, the driver is asking, who is driving the vehicle, lot of personalization, be it be the cabin lighting itself, or it could be the personalization in the cluster, or the seating arrangements. There's lots of personalization which is brought in. So once the user gets to use it, it becomes a norm. So that is what is the need of the hour in the interior management itself. Then autonomous driving, I think we talked about the different ADAS, level 1, level 2, and so on. So nowadays, if you see the vehicles which is getting launched, level 2 is more or less a common norm with the basic functions like lane keep assist, cruise control, and so on. So that becomes the need of the hour, the years to come. Then the components becoming obsolete. So earlier we had this, now there is a transition from the conventional combustion engines to the hybrid electrics and then also the electric vehicles. So in this transition, what is happening? There is lots of components getting obsolete. So that now the manufacturers has to look at what is the components I need to give away with, and then what I have to maintain, and there is a warranty claim. So lots of these challenges coming to the manufacturers themselves. So there is also a redundancy in the wiring harness, more number of systems which is coming in. There is also wiring harness which has to be maintained. So battery management, I think we talked about a lot today, and axle updates for the EVs. That's also a change which is coming up for, especially for the electric vehicles and shared vehicle fleets. So in short, I can say the electrification is one, then autonomy, connectivity, and shared mobility is the different dimensions which throws the dimension for the needed architecture which is looked in the years to come. So one of the key elements for the software-defined vehicle, if you see in the center there is the central gateway which takes all the inputs from the various ECUs which is there in the system. So what are the influencing factors for the transition for the new architecture? If you see the centralization is one, that is a lot of data computation is happening and the high performance computing is required, which is taking lots of information from the sensors and then fusing it and then giving the required information to the needed parties. Then reuse of the software is also one of the things. We cannot develop time and again and then see that this is what it is, but there is a lot of restructuring or reunification has to happen. Then virtual development. This is one key thing that we have shortage of time now. So there is shrinkage of product development life cycle. What I have to do, then I have to do a lot of in-house simulation, and then a lot of testing has to happen. So this is, we are moving, left shifting the entire development life cycle. So the in-house lab equipments or the lab simulation is more streamlined to the more environment or the real-time situations. So that is what the need of the hour in the virtual development and also the validation part. So we spend less time on the actual vehicle when you are integrating and parameterization. So that is where we can save time. That is also a transition which is looked in. So when it comes to the zonal architecture requirements, if you see here, there are different zones which is getting populated in the four corners of the vehicle. So what we are talking about is, can we split the sensors, actuators, not talking to everything around in the ECU in the vehicle? Can we put certain VCUs which is only talking to the specific sensors and then exchanging information? So that is where the zonal architecture and Ethernet backbone is coming in. So Ethernet plays a very key role here, and then it has lots of information like 100 Mbps of data, or it could be 1000 Mbps of data can be transferred. So in this way, the hardware is getting consolidated and wiring is getting optimized. So another key important thing which was also laid out in the earlier talks, the software driven, the SOFI architecture. That is, on the cloud we can have the service oriented architecture, which is also need of the hour to bring in the applications to the cloud. Now what is the enabler for EVs? Are we talking the similar lines? The EVs is getting benefit out of this? Yes, because the battery management is one example where the battery is efficiently managed as a software what is giving in. It could be the status of charge, status of health, SOC, SOH, parameters which is continuously monitored in the software, which gives a better mileage or range. Then we are also looking at the charging infrastructure getting ramped up. So when we have more range, we will have better charging infrastructure meeting the needs of the users. So that is why the fostering, it definitely fosters the EV adoption, which is key element for the software defined vehicle itself. Digging deep, in, we can say that there are the 6 driving factors for the SDV itself. One, I was mentioning the transforming the driving experience, wherein you have the personalization and the comfort which is coming in for the end user. The second important thing is the connectivity. So we can talk about the data acquisition and then transferring the data over the cloud, wherein the 5G is also one of the key elements which is helping us for the V2X transformation itself. So over the air updates, I think we heard now in the increase in the cyber security. So most often if you see in the recent ones, if you keep on updating the software time and again, is it prone for a lot of secure information getting ramped up, or there could be harm in the end user applications. So that is where the cyber security is playing a very important role here. Then the 3 elements, if you see, if this has to happen, there has to be a proper collaboration between the ecosystem. It could be the manufacturers, OEMs, tier 1s, everybody has to work together and make this happen. The development approach, yes, when we talked about in the first slide, we are reducing the timelines. How is it possible? In the conventional V life cycle, we used to have a sequential approach. Now we are looking at agile way of approach. Different frameworks could be helping us, definitely yes, and then the faster turnaround time is also the benefited here. So reduced cost, yes, predictive maintenance, that is one thing which we can look at. The gateway issues or the diagnostic gateway issues which is there in the systems, we can predictively look at whether the health of the vehicle is needing any service now, or we can move along with certain more timelines and so on. So these are the key driving factors I would say that SDV is looked at as a synonym that we have to get this transformation done. So key takeaways is basically the 3 elements, that is we have to basically customize. A balance between the customization and sustainability is one element. Then the personalization plays a key role because the user has already got a taste of it. We have to live with this. Then the second is we have to turn around solutions is very fast. That is where the development time is shrinkage can be met. The third and key element is the semiconductor market is already moved into this dimension of the chips are getting launched time and again with the various drivers being monitored by the various vendors, and then it is getting integrated. Similarly, the software also has to happen in the reusable way and then getting launched. If you see in this picture, the OEMs are getting the information to the cloud, and the end user in the vehicle gets these required applications and then giving it to the up-to-date. So to summarize, I would say that SDV is inevitable and we had to embrace it. So that's the key takeaway I want to all of us to share with. Thank you.